Good morning, students, and welcome back in the next chapter, that is the 100 dresses part 2. The first part we have already completed. In that first part, we have studied about a girl, Wanda Petronsky. She was an Polish American girl, and currently she was studying in an American school where she faced some kind of discrimination in his class. Okay, at first we have started there. She used to sit next to the last seat in the corner. Okay, and she has a strange name, Wanda Petronsky. And there were another student in the class whose name was not strange like that. Their name was Thomas Allen Smith. And there was a boy whose name was Bounce Willie Bounce. But her classmates thought that the Bounce Billy Bounce is not funny as the name of Wanda Petronsky. Okay, and when she used to come to school, she always wore a blue faded dress. Okay, means she has the only one dress, its color was faded. Okay, and she used to come to the school from Boggin Height, means the name of the house, means the place of the house where Wanda Petronsky's house was located, that was Boggin's Height. Okay, and that was in a far distance from the school. Now there are some other classmates of Wanda Petronsky like Peggy and Maddie. Okay, Peggy and Maddie, both of them were bright students and they used to sit in the front seats. Okay, and they also used to get the good marks in the examination. And sometimes we thought that Peggy is a cruel girl, but actually she was not a cruel girl. Okay, so even sometimes she saw that an animal is mistreated, that time she also used to cry, sit and cry. Okay, it shows that she was not a cruel girl, but she was very astonished that why Wanda Petronsky used to say that she has 100 dresses. Okay, that is why she thought that that girl doesn't have the 100 dresses, but why she is saying that is why she used to play a game, means that game was called the dresses game. She always used to ask the question to the Wanda Petronsky that how many dresses she has, and Wanda always used to say that she has 100 dresses. Okay, and there was a girl, Maddie, whose full name was Madeline. Okay, and she was also a poor girl, and she used to wear the hand me over dresses, means the dresses which was used by the other people. Okay, she wanted to stop Peggy by teaching Wanda Petronsky and by uh, playing the game of dresses. She wanted to stop Peggy, but she thought that she can be the next target because she was also a poor girl. That is why she left that thought that she will tell Peggy to stop teasing Wanda Petronsky. Okay, now when it was time of Monday, nobody noticed that Wanda had not come to the school on Tuesday, and again nobody has noticed that Wanda has come to the school or not. Okay, now it was the time of Wednesday when Maddie and Peggy, both of them, was waiting for Wanda Petronsky, and they became late of her. They became late because of Wanda Petronsky. Because Wanda Petronsky did not came to school that day, did not come to school that day. Okay, that is why they became late. They became late, and that day they noticed that Wanda Petronsky is not coming to the school. Okay, now it was the time of the competition's result, means it was a designing competition for boys. That was the designing competition of motorboats, and Jack Beggars was the winner of that. And there was a second competition for girls, that was dresses designing. Okay, and everyone was thinking that Peggy would win that competition. Okay, because she used to make very good drawings, and actually she can draw an exact portrait of a human being. Okay, means she was very fine in dressing the designs. But that time when the result was announced and when they reached to the school, they saw that there were 100 dresses, there were pictures of 100 dresses. Okay, and all of them were very beautiful and very beautifully designed. That time Miss Mason is the class teacher of their class, and I remind you that their room number The class's room number was room number 13. Okay, and when Miss Mason announced that the winner of that designing competition in the girls, that is Wanda Petronsky, and she also said that even the judges said that every each dress is able to win the gold medal. Okay, there the story ends. Now we will start the second part of the same story, the 100 dresses. Okay, it is also written by Else or Easter. Now we will start it. When the class was circling the room, the monitor from the principal's office brought Miss Mason a note. Miss Mason read it several times and studied it thoughtfully for a while. Then she clapped her hands. Attention class, everyone back to their seats. When the shuffling of feet had stopped and the room was still and quiet, Miss Mason said, I have a letter from Wanda's father that I want to read to you. Miss Mason stood there a moment and the silence in the room grew tense and expectant. The teacher adjusted her glasses slowly and deliberately. Her manner indicated that what was coming. This letter from Wanda's father was a matter of great importance. Everybody listened closely as Miss Mason read the brief note. Now, what happened when everyone was having a look at the amazing drawings which was made by Wanda Petronsky, and all the students were admiring the dresses which was made by Wanda. Okay, and that time the monitor came with a note from the principal. Okay, and the monitor gave that note to the Miss Mason. Then this time Miss Mason read that note multiple times very carefully, and she could not believe what was written in that. Okay, finally she decided to gather all the class. That is why she clapped loudly there. Okay, and she said all the class that it was a letter from Wanda Petronsky's dad. She silenced the class for a while, and everybody was tense before telling about the letter. Okay, and Miss Mason adjusted her spectacles, her glasses, and after that everyone was waiting for that. Okay, now what was written in that letter we will try to find out. Dear teacher, my Wanda will not come to your school anymore. Jack also. Now we move away to big city. No more holler pollock. No more ask why funny name. Plenty of funny names in the big city. Yours truly, Jan Petronsky. Okay, as you can see here, Wanda's father has written that letter that Wanda will not come to the school anymore. Okay, and Jack also. Jack was the small brother or younger brother, we can say that, because they were moving to a big city and there will be no one who will tease them. Okay, holler pollock means tease them, and no one will tease them by their funny name. Okay, because there are too many funny name in the big cities. At last his father written there, yours truly, Jan Petronsky. Now we will try to understand it. The next paragraph. From there, a deep silence met the reading of this letter. Miss Mason took off her glasses, blew on them, and wiped them on her soft white handkerchief. Then she put them on again and looked at the glass. Look at the class. When she spoke, her voice was very low. After knowing what was in the letter, everyone was speechless in the class. Miss Mason too was very much surprised and she was also stunned. She cleared her glasses and wore them again, spoke to the class in a very low voice. She conveyed her disappointment to the class and asked them to ensure her that nothing was done purposely to Wanda Petronsky. Okay, as you can see here, I am sure that none of the boys and girls in this room 13 would purposely and deliberately hurt anyone's feeling because his or her name happened to be a long, unfamiliar one. I prefer to think that what was said in thoughtfulness. I know what all of you feel the way happened unfortunate and sad both, and I want you all to think about it. Okay, and she told to the class, she conveyed the class her disappointment that no one has done that purposely, and she gave the children benefit of doubt that time. Means everything they did that was done unfortunately and unintentionally. Okay, that was done unintentionally. She said whatever happened was a sad and unfortunate thing. Okay, and she also advised to the student to introspect, means to uh, see in yourself, to see inside of your soul that what they have done today. Now next one. The first period was a study period. Maddie tried to prepare her lesson, but she could not put her mind on her work. She had a very sick feeling in the bottom of her stomach. True, she had not enjoyed listening to Peggy ask Wanda how many dresses she had in her closet, but she said nothing. She had stood by silently, and that was just as bad as what Peggy had done. Worse, she was coward. At least, at least Peggy had not considered they were being mean, but she, Maddie, had thought they were doing wrong. She could put herself in Wanda's shoes. Everyone began thinking about what was written in that letter and how each one of them made Wanda feel. Okay, means everyone was thinking what was wrong we have done. Now it was the time of first period, and Maddie was unable to concentrate on his study because she was also feeling sick in her stomach. Okay, and Peggy that time she was very normal, and had she stopped Peggy from playing that dress game with Wanda, things could be different. That time Maggie is thinking that if she had stopped Peggy by doing that, Wanda Petronsky would not leave the school. Although Wanda never teased by Maddie, but Maddie did not stop Peggy by doing this, which realized her mistake. That was also a bad thing. Peggy's intentions were never to hurt Wanda, but she was not aware that her game of dresses would hurt her feeling. Okay, Maddie, on the other hand, was aware of all its impact, but she stood silent there, which made her a coward for not standing against what was wrong. Now we will try to understand the next paragraph. Goodness, wasn't there anything she could do? If only she could tell Wanda she hadn't meant to hurt her feelings. She turned around and stole a glance at Peggy, but Peggy did not look up. She seemed to be studying hard. Whether, well, whether Peggy felt badly or not, she, Maddie, had to do something. She had to find Wanda Petronsky. Maybe she had not yet moved away. Maybe Peggy would climb the heights with her, and they would tell Wanda she had won the contest, that they thought she was smart, and the 100 dresses were beautiful. Now, what happens after that? As I have already told you, that Maggie was in guilt that she should stop Peggy by playing that game. Okay, so she was filled with guilt and regret, and she was wishing that she has a chance to apologize to Wanda Petronsky, and she was also hoping that Peggy would also think that she will also apologize with Wanda Petronsky to Wanda Petronsky. Okay, that is why she looked towards the Peggy, but Peggy was studying very hard. As you know, that she was a hard working and good girl in the class. Okay, that time she was thinking, Maddie was thinking, and she has decided to take some action. Okay, and she was also hoping that Wanda Petronsky have not moved from their house from Boggin's side yet. That is why she decided to go there and to meet them, to meet Wanda Petronsky and tell them that her dresses were very beautiful. Now there are some comprehension questions. We will discuss them at last. We will complete the lesson first. There are some pictures of Wanda Petronsky's dresses. You can see them. Now next one. When school was dismissed in the afternoon, Peggy said with pretended casualness, "Hey, let's go and see if the kid has left town or not." So Peggy had had the same idea. Maddie glowed. Peggy was really alright. So what happened when the classes were over in the afternoon? That time, in a casual way, Maddie said to Peggy that I think we should go in a casual way. I think we should go to see that kid. See that kid means see that Wanda Petronsky, whether she had left the town or not. That time Maggie became very happy because Peggy was also thinking the same thing. Okay, the two girls hurried out of the building up to the street towards Boggin Heights, the part of town that wore such a forbidding air on this kind of a November afternoon, drizzly, damp, and dismal. Okay, we will try to understand it. Now both girls, now they were ready to go to the Boggin side to see the Wanda Petronsky, and they wanted to tell her that her dresses were very beautiful. Okay, and during this session, means while they were walking, the place was generally wet, and the atmosphere was very sad and helpless. Okay, now next one, just a minute. Well, at least, said Peggy gruffly, I never did call her a foreigner or make fun of her name. I never thought she had the sense to know we were making fun of her anyway. I thought she was too dumb and gay. Look how she can draw. Now, this time, Peggy is telling to Maddie in a very gruffy manner, okay, in a very casual manner, that she never call her foreigner, means she is excusing this time. She never call her foreigner, and she never thought that her name is a strange one. Okay, and she was also telling that I never thought that she has the sense that I was making fun of her, and see today how beautiful dresses she have designed. Now the next one, Maddie said say nothing. All she hoped was that they would find Wanda. She wanted to tell her that they were sorry they had picked on her, and how wonderful the whole school thought she was, and please not to move away, and everybody would be nice. She and Peggy would fight anybody who was not nice. When Peggy was thinking all these things, that it was not her mistake and she was pretending that she hadn't done anything wrong, okay, that time Maggie was not thinking anything, means she was not thinking anything, she was only hoping that she would meet Wanda Petronsky and she would get the chance to confess, okay, and she will appreciate about her dresses. In fact, she even thought of conveying her idea of protect Wanda if anyone tried to trouble her in any way. Okay, means he was saying that Peggy and Maddie will protect Wanda Petronsky if someone will tease her. Okay, now next one. The two girls hurried on. They hoped to get the top of the hill before dark. Now next one. I think that is where the Wanda Petronskys that is where the Petronskys live, said Maddie, pointing to a little white house, whips of old grass stuck up here and there along the pathway like thin kittens. The house and its sparse little yard looked shady. Just a minute. It is too small font, that is why I am making too many mistakes. No problem. The house and its sparse little yard looked shabby but clean. It reminded Maddie of Wanda's one dress, her faded blue cotton dress, shabby but clean. Both of them saw a white little house up there which they thought was the place where Wanda Petronsky lived. The house and its surrounding were very shabby, but it was clean. Okay, just like it was Wanda's blue faded dress, which was not dirty, which was clean but not pressed, not ironed. Okay, they resembled thin kittens, means the pathways was looking like a thin kittens. No one could be seen around the house, as you can see here. Just a minute. Is now this one. There was no sign of life about the house. Peggy knocked firmly on the door, but there was no answer. She and Maddie went around to the back yard and knocked there. Still, there was no answer. Means when they reached there was not any sign of any human being. And both of them searched here and there, but they did not find anyone there. They also went to the backyard, and they also knocked to the backyard door, but there were no one. Now next one. There was no doubt about it. The Petronskys were gone. How could they ever make amends? Now that time these girls were thinking that the Petronskys, means Wanda Petronsky and their family, has gone from this place, and how will they make their mistake correct, means how will they amends means galtiyan sudharna. They turned slowly and make their way back down the hills, means they have come back from the boggin sides. Well, anyway, said Peggy, she's gone now, so what can we do? Besides, when I was asking her about her dresses, she probably was getting good ideas for her drawings. She might not even have won the contest otherwise. Now, this time, Peggy is telling to Maddie that we can't do anything because she has gone from here. And she was also thinking that when I used to ask her about the 100 dresses, that gave a new idea to Wanda Petronsky to draw the different designs. That might be the reason, otherwise she could not win the contest. Now next one. Maddie turned his idea carefully over in her head. For if there were anything in it, she would not have to feel so badly. But that night she could not get to sleep. She thought about Wanda and her faded blue dress and the little house she had lived in. and she thought of the glowing picture those 100 dresses made, all lined up in the classroom. At last Maddie sat up in bed and pressed her forehead tight in her hands and really thought. This was the hardest thinking she had ever done. After a long, long time, she reached an important conclusion. As Peggy was trying to convince herself that because of her, Wanda Petronsky got the new ideas to design the different dresses, and that is why she won the contest. Okay, Maddie was also trying to convince herself after what Peggy said. Okay, but in this case, it doesn't happen. What happens after that? That night, when both of them reached their home, Maddie thought that that was a wrong thing what we have done, and she could not sleep as she was thinking continuously about Wanda's little house and her blue faded dress. And both of them, the dress and the house, was both of them was shabby, but both of them was clean. And she was also thinking about the 100 dresses which was all lined up in the room number third in the school, okay, instead of the closet. Finally, she sat in her bed and started thinking very deeply, and it was the hardest thinking ever she has done. She pressed her forehead tight in her hands, which indicate that she was trying to concentrate, but she was not able to do. Okay. Now next one, she was never going to stand by and say nothing again. After thinking so much, so deeply, she came to the conclusion that she will always stand against the wrongs and will never say nothing when she has to do. Okay, means she decided to protect everyone when anyone will do wrong to the any other person. Now the next one, just a minute. If she ever heard anybody picking up someone because they were funny looking or because they had strange names, she would speak up even if it meant losing Peggy's friendship. She had no way of making things right with Wanda, but from now on she would never make anybody else unhappy again. Now she has decided that she would never let anyone make fun of others because of their appearances or name, clothes, or any other things. Okay, and she would not shy to speak against Peggy, even if it meant that speaking is meant to losing their friendship. Okay, that time she has firmly decided that she will always protect the people who are being maltreated. Okay, and she could not go in the past to make amends with Wanda, and no matter how much she wanted to change the things, but that moment is not going to get again. But she tried that she will never make anyone feel embarrassed and unhappy again. Now the next one. Now what happens on Saturday, we will try to understand. On Saturday, Maddie spent the afternoon with Peggy. They were writing a letter to Wanda Petronsky. It was just a friendly letter telling about the contest and telling Wanda she had won. They told her how pretty her drawings were, and they asked her if she liked where she was living and if she liked her new teacher. They had meant to say they were sorry, but it ended up with her just writing a friendly letter, the kind they would have written to any good friend, and they signed it with lots of X's for love. They mailed the letter to Boggin Heights, writing please forward on the envelope. Now what happens on Saturday? Both of them, both Maddie and Peggy. Sorry for this one. These names are very funny instead of Wanda Petronsky. Okay, both Maddie and Peggy sat together on Saturday and decided to write down a letter to Wanda Petronsky, and they wanted to tell her that the contest, that how she has won, and she was also asking her that the new place is good to her or not. And actually they wanted to say sorry, but they were not writing directly to that, they only written a friendly letter. Okay, no matter how much they wanted to apologize. Okay, they wanted to apologize, but they could not have the courage to do so, as I have already told you. Okay, they only write down that letter as a good friend. And after that, as you can see here, they signed it with lots of x's. X means like ex friend. Okay, and after that they mailed it to Boggin Heights, and they have also written on the envelope that please forward it, okay, to the new address. Now the next one. Days passed and there was no answer, but letter did not come back, so maybe Wanda had received it. Perhaps she was so hurt and angry she was not going to answer. You could not blame her. Weeks went by and still Wanda did not answer Peggy and began to forget the whole business, and Maddie put herself to sleep at night making speeches about Wanda, defending her from great crowds of girls who were trying to tease her with how many dresses you got. And before Wanda could press her lips together in a tight line the way she did before answering, Maddie would cry out, "Stop!" that everybody would feel ashamed the way she used to feel. Now days passed and there was no answer, but the letter did not came back, which means that that letter could be received by Wanda Petronsky. Perhaps she was so hurt and angry she was not going to answer that. Means Wanda Petronsky could be very angry, so that is why she did not want to answer that letter. And we can't blame her because she has faced lots of problem in this school. And after some weeks still Wanda did not answer that letter. Peggy had begun to forget the whole business, whatever she has done in the school and whatever that happened. Peggy had forget all these things, but Maddie put herself to sleep at night, making speeches about Wanda and defending her from great crowds of girls, where the girls are trying to tease her by saying the question how many dresses she has got. Okay, and before Wanda could say anything, she would protect her by saying stop, and then everybody would feel ashamed the way she used to feel. It means Peggy has gone out. Peggy has been stay out from that whole matter, but Maddie was a sensible and we can say a sentimental girl. She was not able to put herself out from that whole business. That is why she was always thinking, and she was also dreaming that some girls are teasing Wanda Petronsky, and suddenly she is stopping them and saying that no one will tease Wanda Petronsky. Okay, now next one. Now it was Christmas time and there was snow on the ground. Christmas bells and a small tree decorated the classroom on the last day of school before the holidays. The teacher showed the class a letter she had received that morning. Now it was the time of Christmas, and there was snow on the ground, and there were Christmas bells, small trees were decorated in the classroom. And it was the last day before the holidays, and the teacher showed a letter to the class which she received in the morning. Now next one. Miss Mason is telling to the class that you remember Wanda Petronsky, the gifted little artist who won the drawing contest? Well, she has written me, and I am glad to know where she lives because now I can send her medal. I want to read her letter to you. The class sat up with a sudden interest and listened instant listen intently. Okay, now what happens? Miss Mason told the class that she has got a letter from Wanda Petronsky, and now she knows that where the Wanda Petronsky live, and that is how she can send the winning medal to Wanda Petronsky. Okay, and that time the class sat up very silently, and there was a sudden interest, and they were listening very intently. Okay, now this is the letter. Dear Miss Mason, how are you in room number 13? Please tell the girls they can keep those 100 dresses because in my new house I have 100 new ones all lined up in my closet. I had like I would like that girl Peggy to have the drawing of the green dress with the red trimmings, and her friend Maddie to have the blue one. For Christmas, I miss that school, and my new teacher does not equalize with you. Merry Christmas to you and everybody. Now, this is the letter written by Wanda Petronsky to Miss Mason, and she is asking that how the Miss Mason is and the room number 13. And she also gave a message that the girls from room number 13 can keep all the dresses which she has designed because she has already designed the new 100 ones. Okay, and she specially sent a message to the Peggy that she can have the green dress which has the red trimming, and she has also a message to Maddie that she can have the blue one. And she also told that she is missing the new school, she is missing the previous school because the teachers are not equalized. Okay, and she also wishes Merry Christmas to everybody in the class, and at last she wrote, yours sincerely, Wanda Petronsky. Now next one. On the way from home, on the way home from school, Maddie and Peggy held their drawings very carefully. All the houses had wreaths and holly in the windows. Outside the grocery store, hundreds of Christmas tree was tagged, and in the window, candy, peppermint sticks, and cornucopia. Just a minute. Let me zoom it. Yes, that is cornucopias. Okay, it is cornucopias. You can also pronounce it like cornucopias. Now next one, just a minute. Of shiny transparent paper was strung. The air smelled like Christmas, and light shining everywhere reflected different colors on the snow. Boys, said Peggy, this shows the really likes this shows she really likes us. It shows she got a letter, and this is her way of saying that everything all right, and that is that. I hope so, said Maggie sadly. She felt sad because she knew she would never see the little tight-lipped Polish girl again and could not ever really make things right between them. Now, what happens? We will try to understand. It was Christian season and all the houses were decorated. The grocery stores were full of Christmas trees, candies, peppermints, sticks, and the Christmas stuff. The atmosphere was very joyful, and Maddie and Peggy was coming towards the home, and they were thinking about the drawings and about the letter which Miss Mason received in the morning. And Peggy realized that the gesture implied that Wanda liked them. They also assumed that she got their letter and everything was peaceful between them. Maddie, on the other hand, was quiet and sad because she would never be able to see that Polish girl which has tight lips, and she would not be able to see her again. She would never get a chance to make amends. As I have already told you, amends means galtiyan sudharna. Now next one. It is a very quite long chapter. She went home and she pinned her drawings over a torn place in the pink flowered wallpaper in the bedroom. The shabby room came alive from brilliancy of the colors. Maddie sat down on her bed and looked at the drawings. She had stood by and said nothing, but Wanda had been nice to her anyway. As soon as Maddie reached her home, she displayed her drawings on the part of the wall where her pink flowered wallpaper was slightly torn. Maddie's room was very shabby, but after hanging these drawings, it became very live. She started the drawings constantly and thought how nice Wanda had been to them. Now, next one. As I have already told you that Maddie was a very sentimental girl. Now what happens to her we will try to find out in this paragraph. Tears blurred her eyes and she gazed for a long time at the picture. Then hastily she rubbed her eyes and studied it intently. The colors in the dress were so vivid that she had scarcely noticed the face and head of the drawing. But it looked like her. Maddie, it really looked like her own mouth. Why? Just a minute. Yes. Why it really looked like her own self. Wanda had really drawn this for her. Excitedly, she ran over to Peggy's. Now, what happened? While staring at the drawings, Wanda had given her, means the drawings Wanda has given her, she saw the drawing very carefully, and that time Maddie's vision got blurred with tears. Okay, whatever she saw there, and after that she was in tears. She rubbed her eyes and noticed that Wanda had actually drawn Maddie's face along with the dress. Colors of the dress was so bright and vibrant that the face was hardly visible. Maddie got very excited and ran towards Peggy to check if she had noticed it too or not. Now next one. Peg, she said, "Let me see your picture." "What is the matter?" asked Peggy as they clattered up to her room where Wanda's drawing was lying face down on the bed. Maddie carefully raised it. "Look, she drew you, that is you," she exclaimed. "And the head and face of this picture did look like you." Now what happens when Maddie reached to the house of Peggy? That time she said that, "Let me see your picture." Now Peggy said to her that, "What is the matter?" And after that They went to the bed where the picture was lying down, and Maddie raised that picture very carefully, and she told to Peggy that look at that picture, she drew you. You are in the picture. And this time Maddie was also exclaimed. And the head and face of this picture was also looking like the Peggy. Now, next one. What did I say? Said Peggy. She must have really liked us anyway. Now, this time Peggy is very surprised. She's exclaimed and she's thinking, what did you say? I think she must have liked us, and she must have liked us really. Yes, she must have, agreed Maddie, and she blinked away the tears that came every time she thought of Wanda standing alone in the sunny spot in the schoolyard, looking stolidly, stolidly over at the group of laughing girls after she had walked off, after she had said, sure, 100 of them all lined up. Now we will try to understand this one. Just a minute. Yes, this one. Peggy was very surprised to see that. Okay, she exclaimed that she was right about the thought that Wanda liked them. Maddie, whose eyes used to get filled with tears every time she recalled that scene where Wanda would look at that girl who was laughing towards her, and also agreed with Peggy that Wanda Petronsky used to like Maggie and Peggy. That is how this chapter is ended now.